which is pounding down here in the 7th inning. They can jam about 40,000 people at the most here at Wrigley Field. This is a look from our Goodyear blimp. They have a rainy night to contend with up above. There's a good at-bat by Sandy Alomar. He's fouled off quite a few difficult pitches. He's leading off in the 7th inning. That one is a tough chance for the shortstop, Dunston, and he is safe. And he really jammed into the base. That's the second hit for Alomar. A good effort by Dunston. It looked like he had no chance, but with that great arm of his, he darn near got him.
Yeah, if Sean Dunston can't go in the hole and throw you out, then the play can't be made. He has the strongest arm of any shortstop in the major leagues. Tough to get leverage right there. I'm sure John McNamara, watching this game, concerned about Sandy Alomar Jr. sliding into first base. John, of course, the manager of the Cleveland Indians. Here it is one more time. How many times do you see the catcher sliding in? The top foot went over the bag. Not your Spalding guide slide right there.
We had a clock on the throw by Dunston, 77 miles an hour. A long throw from short.
Well, that's not fair because Dunston really threw the ball flat-footed. He lost his balance, but it just shows you how strong that arm is. He has a gun.
Lance Parrish hopes to get something done at the plate as he bats for the first time. The leadoff man is on for the American League here in the 7th inning. They now have 4 hits. 2 of them by Sandy Alomar and 2 by Boggs. And Dunston is checking the rain. Parrish takes a pitch low and away, and that's ball 2. Couple of warming up. The Nasty Boys are down there. Dibble on the left and Myers on the right.
Hey, Roger Craig's got a problem with his pitchers. He's already used 6 pitchers with 2 more warming up, and it's a scoreless ball game, a tie game. If this game goes into extra innings, the National League could be in trouble.
And it might just do that the way the hitting and the scoring has been. 2-0 the count. Lance Parrish is the batter. He's had 16 home runs this year and 42 runs batted in. Long time in Detroit, then over with the Phillies. He'll get his swings before this at-bat is over. Leadoff hit by Alomar, being held by Clark. Wills played the entire game. Frank Robinson coaching at first. Inside, and it's 3-0, and again they might turn the hitter loose. They play Parrish as a pull hitter. And now the wind has shifted around a little bit, kind of blowing toward the left field corner, so maybe we shall get some scoring. And he was taking all the way, and it's 3-1. By the way, Norm Charlton back home, be happy to know he was represented here because Randy Myers wore Charlton's uniform shirt during pregame practice. So they stuck together, Dibble, Myers, and Charlton. 3-1. 3-2. Little wrinkle on that pitch, Tim. From Brantley. Brantley lives in Clinton, Mississippi.
Went to Mississippi State along with Will Clark, Rafael Palmeiro, Bobby Thigpen. 3 members of that team represented here tonight. Clark, Thigpen, and Brantley.
Runner at first, nobody out. 3-2 on the batter. Going. Base hit. It'll be first and third with nobody out on the hit by Parrish. Well, looks like the American League is poised to take the lead in the 61st All-Star game. Where's Pat O'Brien? He has found the ultimate fan.
All right, Jack, thank you very much. As a matter of fact, Jay Leggett here had a little party over at his house. And, Jay, looking for some offense in this game?
Yes, I am. It's kind of disappointing so far. Pitcher's duel, but I'm waiting for some hits.
The reason why it's raining in Jay's house is that we are at his house, but he has moved his living room into his front yard. I'm not kidding you, folks. This is Jay's living room in the rain. And there we are. And it's time to go back to the ballpark. Back to you fellas.
And O'Brien can dig him up. First and third and nobody out. And hitting for the second time in this game is Julio Franco. He has come on to be a very steady performer for the Rangers. The ground crew has spread some dry sand, and Tony LaRussa trying to figure out a way to get a run across as Dave Duncan behind him. Doug Jones, Saberhagen. Franco, tough to hit with that wet bat and the water dripping off the bill of the helmet.
I think you saw one of the members of the grounds crew. He's going down to the American League bullpen. It is becoming slippery. It's not too often that you find the bullpen more slippery than the field.
Yeah, and one thing we should point out here, this is one thing that the umpires will not put up with. First of all, Roger Craig comes out, and he might lift Brantley right here. But if the umpires find that there's danger of somebody being injured slipping in the mud, you know, the rain is one thing. But once it gets soggy out there, and the umpires have to think seriously about holding things up. Wonder if we can see the cut on the bridge of the nose of Ed Montague. There's Roger Craig, and he's going to lead Brantley in.
That cut on the nose occurred when Vince Coleman of the St. Louis Cardinals slid into second base, was called out by Ed Montague, who was, of course, the second base umpire. And Vince inadvertently came up, and the bill of his hard hat hit the bridge of the nose of Ed Montague.
He said that hurt.
And Coleman suffering a 7-day suspension as a result.
Now they're going to cover the field. That's what I was talking about. Once the umpire deems it dangerous that a pitcher might slip off the mound and hurt himself or something, here comes Tony LaRussa to talk with the umpire to get his thoughts about this situation. First and third, nobody out, 7th inning, no score. The umpire said, we're going to need a little work. We're going to cover the field, and we're going to repair the field before we resume. And LaRussa just wanted to check something with Montague, perhaps the batting order or something of the sort. The fans came prepared tonight because all day long it looked as though it was going to rain here in Chicago. There they go to work. This infield will absorb quite a bit of this rain, so it won't be in bad playing shape, but we're going to have a genuine delay here in the top of the 7th inning of the scoreless game.
Starting time was supposed to be 7:40. It was delayed 15 minutes. It eventually started at 7:55.
Well, there'll be some stories swapped. That's the American League bench. And Big Dave Parker. We'll see him before the night's over, in all probability. Another look at the fans and the preparation that they made for this game. No score, top of the 7th, American League threatening, first and third, nobody out.
If you want to do more than one thing at the same time, don't expect an ordinary computer to get the jobs done. But an IBM PS2 with microchannel can crunch numbers, search files, share information, revise graphics all at once. With microchannel, a PS2 can work harder than ordinary computers, so you can get many things done at the same time without going to pieces. To be more productive, how are you going to do it? PS2 it.
Finally, there's just one place to call to get all your major name brand appliances fixed. GE, Whirlpool, Frigidaire. No mater where you bought them, just call Sears. So even if you didn't buy it at Sears, this truck will come fix it. How's that for service?
They perform like great athletic shoes. B.F. Goodrich TA Tires, the athletic shoes for your car. B.F. Goodrich TA Tires.
From the creators of St. Elsewhere.
What are you doing in my bedroom, man? Indians don't knock it through.
He's a big city doctor in the wilds of Alaska.
And where is the rest of the town?
Exploring the wildlife.
You are clearly attracted to me.
And local customs.
Too much hunting, Joe? Just on the Lower East Side for bargains.
Northern Exposure premieres Thursday. 1978, you believed a man could fly. 1989, The Dark Knight was reborn. Now, lightning strikes again. This fall on CBS, get ready for The Flash.
Although the rain is quite heavy and steady, it has brightened a little bit, so we're hoping this rain delay won't last very long. As you can see, the field is covered. There's no score. We're in the top of the 7th, the American League, with the first big threat of the night. In at first and third, and nobody out. And Julio Franco will be at the plate when we resume. You know, the first All-Star game was in 1933. It was also here in Chicago, but at the other park, Comiskey Park. And fittingly, Babe Ruth hit the first home run. Charlie Gehringer was on first base at the time. He remembers the moment and the Bambino.
He had that feeling that you get on and I think we can win it. Because he always went for the downs. He always got a big hand, and he liked it. He was a big overgrown boy that had a lot of fun playing the game.
Charlie Gehringer says the Babe was a big, overgrown boy who loved the game. And by the way, Charlie Gehringer was 10 out of 20 in All-Star competition. I'm very happy that we were able to get him involved in this game. I've had the pleasure of meeting the Hall of Famer. A wonderful, quiet, easygoing, nice fella. Well, what's the commissioner doing? He's probably found the shelter of the dugout, and he's visiting with Dave Parker. And a chance to visit with Jim Cott.
All right, visiting with Wade Boggs, 6th All-Star game, but I got to believe you come here and you're saying, man, I hope the wind is blowing out so we can put on a show.
Well, that was what my grandmother had asked for. Her birthday's today, and I wanted to wish her a happy birthday. And she said, hit me a home run, and all I could do was settle for 2 hits.
You know, you got on base a few times, but I think oftentimes it goes unnoticed about you is the way you've improved in the field. You've really worked at that, haven't you?
I really have. I came to the big leagues with the label that you can't play third, and I've really worked hard over the last 9 years to bring it up. And you've got 2 jobs. One's to hit, one's to field, and you can win ball games by fielding, too.
Well, 3 times on base tonight. The American League hasn't had a lot of offense. Wade Boggs has been most of it. Let's go over to Greg Gumbel. He's going to visit with Frank Viola in the National League locker room. Greg?
All right, Jim. Yeah, he's one of those guys responsible for a lack of offense out there tonight. We were just talking about how that's a pretty sensible decision by the umpires because it looks like it might get a little dangerous out there.
Yeah, you know, an all-star game, I know it's for the fans, but you also have to realize that there's 9 guys in each team going out there, and when it gets wet, you could have an accident, and I don't think anybody wants to see that.
Yeah, Frank Viola, of course, one of those rampaging New York Mets. Things have been kind of fun for you guys lately. In fact, I wonder how it affects the team now that you take a little break from the action.
Well, we'll have to find out. We start off with 5 games in 4 days against Cincinnati, so it'll be a true test right from the start. But, you know, I think we're all very confident, especially after the last month and a half that we played. You know, our talent's finally going out there and showing what we can do. And, you know, it makes for a lot of fun. It was disappointing ended last year for the Mets, and it was a terrible start this year. But we always knew that we can do it. It was just a matter of, I guess, a kick in the butt. And I think that kick in the butt was Davey getting fired and Buddy taking over. And, you know, you hate to see a manager go, but in this instance, I think it lit that fire that we needed, and since then, we've taken off.
Okay. Frank Viola taking part in his 2nd All-Star game. Thank you, Frank.
Okay, Greg, thank you.
Jack, Tim?
Frank had an easy night's work with one very easy inning for Frank Viola, and there's Jose Canseco on the bench, wondering if he'll get another at-bat and a base hit. One thing this rain delay does for us is give an opportunity to look back at what's called the first half of the season, in particular, Tim, the American League West, and a most shocking, surprising, and pleasant story.
Absolutely. The surprise of the 1990 season so far, you saw Jose Canseco sitting next to Bobby Thigpen, who leads the major leagues in saves with 27. And the Chicago White Sox in 2nd place, 18 games over 500. Last year was the Northsiders, the Chicago Cubs. This year, the last year at Comiskey Park, and I think that's what makes the story so warm, is next year they'll be in a new ballpark.
And only one team can be in first, and the people in Seattle are really enjoying their season because their club has improved. They're entertaining the fans. They're only 9 games out, and of course, to finish the American League West story, it's the disappointing showing of the Kansas City club.
Signing Mark Davis, of course. Mark Davis with a start the other day. That didn't work. and signing him to that big lucrative contract. We've already seen Brett Saberhagen tonight, 5-7 on the year. And he could, if the American League could win this ball game, then Saberhagen could be the winning pitcher. We'll see.
He's in there at the moment. We'll see what happens after the rain lets up and we resume. And we'll get some more play before this evening is over. Fans standing by patiently.
We're on the South Ridge, taking him west. What's next?
Well, we're looking for maximum suspension load.
Go get it.
Not even the deer and the antelope play here. The perfect place to put a GMC truck to an off-road abuse test.
Let's take it to this one.
After all, GMC trucks didn't become #1 in resale value by following in someone else's footsteps.
What's the status?
We really maxed it out today.
With 77 models redesigned and engineered, GM is putting quality on the road.
When I grew up, environment was hot sun and a beautiful, cool breeze that comes off the ocean.
Tree climbing, wading through creeks, catching frogs, stuff like that.
I mean, if we mess things up on this planet, where else are we going to go?
Gotta think about our kids, you know. I'd like to have grandchildren.
It's not looking so good, and we really have to do something about it.
It's about being aware.
Right now, crucial environmental information is being gathered and analyzed with the help of IBM. It's part of a far-reaching United Nations effort to better understand the environment, so we can all do a better job of protecting it.
Crayons, schoolyard looking up the skies, blue clouds, and everything was perfect.
Oh, what a beautiful morning. Everything's going my way.
CBS This Morning, weekdays.
Field, it is brighter and the rain has lessened. We're in the top of the 7th inning. There is no score. The American League has runners at first and third, nobody out. Julio Franco will help tell the story of this game. And we have a rain delay.
Past All-Star games that had rain problems. 1952 at Shive Park. Of course, that was later Connie Mack Stadium. It was called after 5 innings. And then in 1961, at the second game, you remember there were 4 years, 59 through 62, where they played 2 All-Star games a year. And then in 1969, RFK Stadium, Steve Carlson was supposed to start that game, and he started the next day. Tremendous home run by Frank Howard. Greg Gumbel is with Andre Dawson down in the National League locker room. Let's go down to Greg.
All right, Tim, thank you. And obviously the first thing that has happened is they have rained on Andre Dawson's birthday parade. But happy birthday anyway.
Thank you very much, Greg.
You are celebrating a brand new contract. And one thing that strikes me about the last couple of contracts that you have signed, or in this case will sign, is that your contract negotiations with Cub management appear on the surface at least to have been very amicable. It was almost you fill in the numbers the first time around, and this time everything seems to have been treated very nicely and very smoothly.
Well, I think the last 4 years I've earned the respect of management, the organization, the fans, as a love affair that brewed from the very beginning. And I think they realized that this is where I wanted to spend the remainder of my days, perhaps end my career. And I anticipated negotiations probably starting at the end of the season, but this is something I think both parties felt if we did it and got it out of the way, we can concentrate on what was at hand. And I'm happy that this is something behind me, and I look forward to the next 2 years.
I know that you expected it, and Ryan Sandberg expected it, the thunderous ovations when you were introduced at the beginning. But how did you feel as you trotted out there to all that noise?
Well, I had butterflies. I didn't think after all of these years I could get butterflies again, but I was a little queasy inside. I had butterflies the first at-bat. Probably try to be able to do a little bit too much, be a little bit too aggressive, but settle down a little bit. I'm just thrilled that I've had the opportunity to play here amongst these fans who, you know, in my mind, there's no doubt about it, they're probably the best fans in all of baseball.
All right, Andre, thanks again. Happy birthday to you.
Okay, thank you.
Andre Dawson of the Chicago Cubs. Let's take it out now to Pat O'Brien, who has a very special guest with him. Patrick.
All right, Jack, thank you. I'm in the American League dugout with Commissioner Fay Vincent, who's enjoying a cup of coffee. We're keeping dry down here. What about this? What are you going to do?
Well, I'm told that they expect it to let up in about an hour from when we postponed, or at least put the tarp out. So we'll wait the hour and see what happens.
There had been a score now. It's an official game now. Would you stop the game now? Is that the idea that you don't have to...
I think we always wait. I think we owe it to the fans. We wouldn't call it this quickly. We'll wait, see if we can finish it.
You like hanging around the dugout anyway.
I'm talking to a great pitcher about his no-hitter. Sure, Randy Johnson.
Back up to Jack. See you, fellas.
Well, while we're waiting to resume here at Wrigley Field, let's look in as William Shatner hosts 2 real-life stories of uncommon courage and compassion on a special episode of Rescue 911. Good enough conditions to get things underway, and the American League has the biggest threat of the night. First and third, nobody out. Julio Franco will be at the plate. Looks like we might finish this game. That's good.
I think so, in a National League East city, and I think it's worth really reviewing the first half of the season about the National League East, because the Pittsburgh Pirates are in first place. Now, a lot of people think the Pirates are a little thin. They have a terrific outfield, a bullpen that they're really not sure about. Bill Landrum continuing to do a good job, but the New York Mets very hot, and Montreal hanging tough.
Yeah, that Montreal ball club has shown a lot this year with Buck Rogers, their manager. They're only 3.5 out, 10 games over 500. Philadelphia played very well early on. Now they're under 500, and that 500 mark is always the demarcation point. And look at the Cubs and the Cardinals, 15 games off the pace. But it looks like those top 3, Pittsburgh, New York, and Montreal, are going to battle it out. And Tim, the Mets have played fewer games than most of the others in that division, and it's a good thing for them. They have all of those starting pitchers to choose from, because they're going to put a heavy burden on that pitching staff before this season comes to a close.
6 starting pitchers, as a matter of fact. I think had the lockout not occurred this year, that Frank Cashin probably would have made a trade. Frank, the general manager of the Mets, and traded one of the starting pitchers. But with the lockout, they've needed all of their starting pitchers, and they have great short relief from John Franco.
Some of you folks will see the Pirates in action next Saturday here on CBS, and note the spirit and the drive they have with their manager, Jim Leland, leading the way. There's Julio Franco. He'll be at the plate with men at first and third, nobody out, and he'll tell us the story. Now, earlier we looked at the American League West, and now there we have another look at Oakland and Chicago. Seattle hanging tough. And then in the American League East, well, you get some varying opinions. Boston was hot, they cooled off. Toronto was cool, and they got well again. And look at Cleveland. Cleveland with that good pitching, and to me, the most surprising team in the entire division is Detroit.
I think so, too. I think the most surprising pitcher is Mike Boddicker, who has won 10 in a row for the Boston Red Sox. He and Roger Clemens, it used to be Spahn and Sane and Pray for Rain in Boston. Now it's Clemens and Boddicker.
Tony LaRussa, he is tough to beat. He's been there, and he's won the division the last couple of times and the World Series last year in his ball club. When we ran into him up in Toronto more than a week ago, you could tell just by visiting with him that he was very confident of winning. In fact, he talked about whoever wins it has to win 100 games, and he was kind of saying, we can do it. The question is, can the White Sox win 100 games?
Well, a lot of people think that the White Sox are going to crumble in the second half because they're not deep enough. Well, a lot of people didn't expect them to be 18 games over 500 at this point of the season either.
And we run into American League experts, and some say Toronto's still going to do it. Others think Boston might have enough pitching with Boddicker leading the way to win that division.
And in the National League West, Roger Craig said that if we can stay 8 games behind the Cincinnati Reds at the All-Star break, which is where they are, winning the doubleheader against the Cubs the other day, they're 8 games behind the Reds and certainly within range.
He said that specifically. He said if we can win 2 Sunday from Chicago, and then they went ahead and did it, why, we'll be trouble for Cincinnati. Greg Gumbel has some more action for us down below here at Wrigley Field. Greg?
All right, Jack, Tim, thank you very much. With me is Giant first baseman Will Clark. How tough is it out there under these conditions?
It was pretty tough, especially when the rain was rolling right along. I know you looked up for a pop-up, you lost track of the ball because the raindrops were hitting you in the face, but also when you were up at the plate, you know, the water was dripping off your helmet, so it was a little tough. Field started getting wet, and I think they did a good job of making the call to halt it.
I mentioned to one of the other guys, in an all-star game, there is no such thing as biding your time and waiting for a weak pitcher to come out of the bullpen, is there?
No, not at all. As you can see by the amount of hits that we got rolling right now, American League's done a real good job. The guys, they coming in throwing the hell out the ball, and we got to go out there and do a little better job.
Tell me a favor. Set this whole thing to rest. What's the most asked question that you've been asked since you've been here in Chicago?
Oh, the old Jose Canseco deal. You know, it's over and done with. It's water under the bridge. I think a lot of the things were said in jest and got really blown out of proportion, so it's over and done with.
You didn't answer my question. How many times were you asked?
At least 1,000.
1,001.
Yeah, you got it.
Will Clark of the San Francisco Giants. We'll take a timeout and come right back with more from Wrigley Field in just a moment. Picture, well, there is no tarp, and the field is slowly being readied for a return to action here at Wrigley Field. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Greg Gumbel. Over in the American League dugout, Jim Cotta is with one of the best outfielders in the American League. Jim?
Well, you got that right, Greg. One of the best. You know, on a rainy night when things are kind of dreary, you want a little smile to brighten things up. Here's the guy to talk to, Kirby Puckett. Coming back to your hometown, you love it.
Well, yeah, it's kind of fun, Kitty, but I wish I had my mom here to share with me. I lost her at the end of last season, and I think I'd feel much better if she was here watching me, but I know that she's in heaven and looking over me, so, you know, I'm happy just to be here, and only a few guys get to make it, so I got to have a smile on my face.
All right, Kirby Puckett having a good time here in Chicago. Pat O'Brien has a special guest, National League President Bill White. Let's go over to Pat O'Brien.
All right, Jim, thank you very much. And you played in, we were trying to count, is it 6 or 7 All-Stars?
Pat, I really don't know. I couldn't have been too many, though, with guys like McCovey and Cepeda around, but we did play some of them.
Did you ever have a rain delay?
We had a rain delay in Boston in 1961, I believe. The game ended...
Scoreless game?
Scoreless? No. The game ended up 1-1. Colavito had a home run for the American League, and that, I think, is the only game in All-Star history that ended in a tie.
This is your second year as president of the National League. You're hosting this, and it rained on your parade.
It did that. Of course, every time I come to Chicago, it rains. We were here for their opening day this year, and that game was rained out, so we bring rain to Chicago. But I think this one will be finished.
You got any stories about Tim McCarver you can tell that we can put on the air?
I think Bob Gibson told one the other day about Timmy, but no, Tim was excellent catcher on that Cardinal team in 1964, got a big base hit at Yankee Stadium, hit a home run that I think that was game 4 or 5. We won that thing, but Timmy, excellent catcher. We called him Gig'em. Gig'em. The ball hits in and bounces out of the glove all the time.
Yeah, we're going to go back to Gig'em.
That's a bad shot.
Well, I'll tell you, he didn't think I was listening, like it never would have gotten back to me. What Gig'em was, that's what the frog makes, and when the ball drops out of the glove. As a matter of fact, Bill Dickey had given me my first mitt in 1959, and I used that the full season in 1963, and I think I had about 12 or 13 pass balls, and I got rid of it after the year.
Speaking of Bill White and All-Star games, there was one year when the entire infield of the St. Louis Cardinals started in the All-Star game. There was Ken Boyer, Dick Groat, Julian Javier, and Bill White, and it wasn't a matter of ballot stuffing, because they were very worthy players as starters in 1963 in the All-Star game. It's only going to take a few more minutes to get ready for the resumption of play here in the All-Star game. And let's go back downstairs and visit with Greg Olson.
Yes, the Greg Olson, not with the Baltimore Birds, but the Atlanta Braves. And it doesn't matter how much it has rained here or how bad the weather was. You said you're just having a great time.
I really am. You know, we went down in the clubhouse, and not too often you get a chance to sit around Will Clark and Frank Viola, Darryl Strawberry, Tony Gwynn. Listen to what they have to say, and it was a lot of fun for me.
Yours is perhaps the most intriguing of all of the All-Star stories here. What, age 29, 10 years in the minors, is that right?
Well, actually, just 7.5, but I'm a rookie, and
29 years old. I got a lot of breaks this year, and it's just a great time to be here. And I never would have thought it. It's been a fairy tale season, and I'm just having a lot of fun.
Greg Olson, welcome to the All-Star Game.
Thank you so much.
We are ready to play baseball. We'll take a timeout and come back to Chicago after this. To remove the rain delay from beneath that scoreboard. We are scoreless in the top of the 7th inning, and Nails is getting ready. In fact, most of the other ball players are out on the field loosening up as the grounds crew spreads a little sand and dries out the diamond and gets it ready for play. And ready is the key word there, because in the entertainment field, all of us at CBS are truly anticipatory of the fall season, and in fact, we are getting ready for the fall. We're very pleased to welcome you back to Wrigley Field in Chicago for the continuation of the 61st Major League All-Star Baseball game. Hello once again, everyone. I'm Greg Gumbel. I said that about 4 hours ago, and we are ready to continue with the top of the 7th inning here at Wrigley Field. For more, let's take you back upstairs to my colleagues, Jack Buck and Tim McCarver.
And the first thing we have to tell you is that Jeff Brantley has left. He was going out there, and both Tim and I were surprised that he was going to resume with runners at first and third and nobody out. He started to warm up, and then Roger Craig came out when Brantley beckoned him. He talked to the umpire. Now there's going to be a different pitcher, but more than that, a little concern about what appeared to be a hip injury. Huh?
It appeared to be the left hip, as Rob Dibble now, the last right-hander for Roger Craig, and the 7th pitcher. And here we're only in the 7th inning of still a scoreless ball game. Dibble with 75 strikeouts on the season. And what a ratio of strikeouts.
I'm chuckling because this Dibble drive a cameraman crazy. He jumps right out of your picture when he throws the ball. Well, there have been some good moments in this game. Jose Canseco hasn't had a hit. He's 0 for 2 with a walk and a stolen base, but that hasn't stopped him from getting his swings. Little wonder he hits the ball so far when he connects. We had a good play against Kevin Mitchell.
That was the play that Wade Boggs, who is noted for his hitting, he is not noted, however, for his glove. But in the 4th inning, makes a fine play, staying down on the ball and getting Mitchell a throw inside the first base line, but the tag made by Mark McGwire.
And we had some fun earlier in the game when Lenny Dykstra thought he was going to catch a fly ball. He was chasing Barry Bonds away, and hello. The big guy always beats the little guy. Well, not always. And Lenny had to make a tough play. Bases loaded, 2 out.
Bases loaded and 2 outs in the 6th inning when all the rain started coming down, and it's very, very difficult. That is not a routine play, and you can see with Lenny, rain falling in his eyes, but he made the catch for the 3rd out.
There's Don Zimmerman. He's in a familiar spot, peering out of that dugout. Popeye, they call him, has a new contract with the Cubs, and there's Rob Dibble, and one of the reasons Greg is happy to have him in there, Dibble and the National League need some strikeouts in this situation when we resume. Top of the 7th, no score. American League with the biggest threat, 1st and 3rd, and nobody out. They tell me, and there is Roger Craig in the dugout. He's gone through some pitchers. Jack Armstrong, Ramon Martinez, Dennis Martinez, Frank Viola, Dave Smith, Jeff Brantley, and now Rob Dibble. But he knows what he's doing. He'll have things covered for the end of the game, and we hope that Brantley has not suffered a serious injury, and now the other players take the field, and very shortly we'll have a pitch thrown in anger here at Wrigley Field. I think there's a kind of a whammy on this field because of these new lights, relatively new. Their first scheduled night game under the lights, postponed because of rain. This year, their opening game under the lights, postponed because of rain. Now we get the All-Star game, and look what we've had to put up with.
The 6th All-Star game being played in Chicago, and the 3rd here at Wrigley Field.
Well, we put the computer to work to get this lineup back together. Ozzie Guillen, Kelly Gruber, Canseco's played the entire game. George Bell has been in there. Ken Griffey's played the entire game. Cecil Fielder in the lineup, and then Sandy Alomari's caught the entire game. Parrish, who has a hit in this game, is a pinch hitter. And then Julio Franco will be batting now as we go back to work.
Well, defensively now, Barry Bonds is in left field. He entered the game in the 5th inning. Len Dykstra has played the whole game. Darryl Strawberry entered the game, spelling Andre Dawson. Tim Wallach came in for Chris Sabo. Sean Dunston is the 3rd National League shortstop. Ozzie Smith started. And then Barry Larkin played. Roberto Alomar in there for Ryan Sandberg. Will Clark, the only first baseman on the National League roster, has to play the whole game unless a guy like Bobby Bonilla goes to first base. Mike Sosa still catching, and Rob Dibble. This should be a great battle right here as Roger Craig is going to play the infield end.
The runner at third base is Sandy Alomar. He started the inning with a base knock, and across the diamond it is Lance Parrish. He got the pinch single to set it up. First and third, nobody out, and Roger Craig figures that 1 run might win this one, so he's playing the infield not all the way in at second and short, but pretty well into the point where they'd have a play on Alomar. Here we go with Dibble. You'll see some fire here. No score, 7th inning. And a strike, a blistering fastball from Dibble.
I don't think with Franco's bat at the angle that it is that there is any way for him to pull a ball off Rob Dibble. And for that reason, Len Dykstra in center field, moving over into right center.
Franco is 0 for 1 in the game, batting .292 on the season. And a foul ball out of play. That's what you're talking about, Tim. He didn't get around on the smoke, and that's strike 2. We had a 1-hour and 8-minute rain delay here at Wrigley Field. And we hope we kept you folks entertained well enough. And now Socha goes out. He wants this strikeout badly, so they'll be able to play the infield all the way back and hope for the double play ball. Frank. I don't know what the score will be, but at the end of this top half of the 7th inning, Harry Carey is going to lead the crowd in the singing of Take Me Out of the Ballgame. That's always fun here at Wrigley Field. Meanwhile, a base hit puts the American League on top. It goes deep, and the second run might also score. Parrish not a good runner, but he is going to be able to dent the plate, and it's 2-0 in favor of the American League as Franco came through on an 0-2 count.
When you add up all the elements, there is no way for Julio Franco to pull a ball off a guy like Dibble, who throws so hard. But Dibble makes the mistake of finding too much of the plate, and Franco rifles one into right center. Strawberry misses the first cutoff man. He does find Sean Dunston, but Parrish ends up walking home. See how far Franco has to go with that bat to come back, that loop in his swing. A mistake by Dibble.
Now Ozzie Guillen up the middle advances the runner as the play is to first by Roberto Alomar. Well, the American League could get that 3rd run home, and they do, even though they've just gathered, have a squeeze play sign. Tony LaRussa told me before this game started. But a good at bat by Ozzie Guillen after Ricky Henderson batting in that position was 0 for 3.
Now, Tony may use a squeeze sign, but if I'm Kelly Gruber with 20 home runs on the year, I don't want any squeeze sign in my first at bat of the All-Star game.
Ooh, in on Kelly Gruber in his first at bat. .296 average, 20 home runs, 66 runs batted in.
Kelly's probably thinking, I didn't come from Toronto to bunt.
No. Runner at third base is Franco. And besides, it's tough to bunt Dibble. There is 1 out, and a chopper foul off the plate evens the count, 1-1. American League on top now, 2-0 here in the top of the 7th inning. And LaRussa still has a flock of pitchers available to him. Dibble let Franco get off the hook. 1-1 to Gruber. And low and away. Nice piece of hitting by Franco after that long delay of more than an hour and 8 minutes. Even though he had 2 strikes, he got the job done. Now he's at third with 1 out. Two and two. They had a clock on him, Tim, on Dibble on some of his pitches in this inning.
The second pitch to Julio Franco, Dibble threw 99 miles an hour. 230 pounds, 6'3".
He's a part of this story now. He gave up the hit. The runs charged to Brantley. The count 3-2 on Gruber.
Dibble mostly a setup man for Randy Myers. How many times does a reliever as a setup man get into an all-star game?
Now Gruber, it's a foul. And by the way, 2 genuine relief pitchers from the same club, and that's a rarity.
Certainly is. Randy Myers and Rob Dibble and Jack Armstrong, who started this game. 14 strikeouts per 9 innings. 75 strikeouts in 48 in the 3rd inning.
3-2 to Gruber. And he walked him. So the American League could keep this inning going. Now you've got something coming up. There's Tony LaRussa. His club is broken on top here in the 7th, 2-0. And guess who Dibble's pitching against? Jose Canseco. Want to watch some power pitching and power swinging? We'll have it here. Canseco 0 for 2 with a walk and a stolen base. First and third with 1 out. National League looking for the double play, so Gruber runs and no throw, a stolen base as Socha dropped the ball. And that takes care of the double play. Now let's see if they walk Canseco again.
Well, the funny thing, as Gruber steals a base, certainly the turf here at Wrigley Field is not the best running conditions.
Ball 1 the count. Second and third, 1 out. And a fly ball might drop. No, it carries out to the right fielder. A tag and a throw by Strawberry at the plate. He is out on the most exciting play of the All-Star game. And it ends the inning. A great throw by Strawberry. And Socha's one of the best at making the tag. 2 runs, 3 hits, and 1 man left. Some throw.
Strong throw because Strawberry puts himself in a position to throw. Mike Socha is the best in the business at blocking the plate, and that's exactly what he does, stopping Julio Franco.
He hasn't touched the plate yet.
If he did, he knocked his foot away. Socha is the best in the business at that particular play, and the throw coming in from the right side is the toughest for a catcher because you don't know where the runner is.
Carry. Chicago, no matter which team is playing the Chicago Cubs, and even though it's late here in this Midwestern city, about 10 minutes past 11 o'clock, enthusiasm still holds forth on the part of these baseball fans who have welcomed the baseball world to their ballpark.
It's official. Harry Carey has sung "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." Bobby Thigpen, the South Sider, is in relief. Brett Saberhagen. Saberhagen could stand to win this ball game if Thigpen et al. can hold the lead. Thigpen leads the major leagues in saves with 27.
And Saberhagen, 2 perfect innings with 1 strikeout, and Thigpen is only the 4th pitcher used by Tony LaRussa this evening. Big Pen Tower, Big Pen Power. American League in good shape, leading 2-0, and the breeze still, well, has changed around a little bit, flowing in toward center, toward home plate.
By the way, that stolen base by Kelly Gruber, the American League's 4th stolen base, that ties an all-star record, and Lance Parrish is now the catcher. So Parrish and Thigpen, the new battery.
But don't discount these National League hitters, starting with Will Clark.
Bobby Thigpen's teammate at Mississippi State.
And they battle one another. Clark is 1 for 2 in this game. And ball 1. Bottom of the 7th. 2-0, the American League. There's a strike as he keeps it away from the left-handed batter.
In college, Thigpen hit behind Will Clark. Clark hit 4th, Thigpen 5th at Mississippi State. Rafael Palmeiro is the 3rd 3-hole hitter. And as we said earlier, Jeff Brantley, who was in this game earlier, and we'll try to get a report on Brantley and the condition of Jeff.
Thigpen, 2 balls and a strike, and makes it 3-1. This pitcher is from St. Petersburg, Florida. Chatting with him the other day, and lives very near the dog track down there, Derby Lane, which we frequent during spring training. Will Clark trying to get on base for the 2nd time. Curling play into the top of the 7th, and now Clark hits it on the ground to Ozzie. Wide, but out at first base to start the bottom of the 7th.
Ozzie Guillen, long noted for his glove in the American League, is hitting .330 this year. Product of Walt Reniak. He can pick it.
12 in a row have been retired by American League pitchers now. Ozzie Guillen throws out Will Clark, and Tim Wallach bats for the first time this evening. And a little bouncer the pitcher has to cover. And does for the 2nd out as he took the throw from fielder. That's 13 National Leaguers in a row set down. What's Pat O'Brien doing here in the 7th inning?
Jack, I'm with Harry Carey, and Harry, you sound pretty good.
Why not? Why not? Hey, Jack and Tim, how you doing? You should be up here with me in the announcer's booth with my good friend Wayne Messmer.
Let me ask you this. What does it mean to Chicago to have the All-Star game right here in your Wrigley Field?
Oh, it's great. Well, look at this ballpark. Look at these people, greatest fans in the world. And if you're going to play an All-Star game in an intimate ballpark where everybody's your friend almost, you can tell the expression on everybody's face. This would be it. Look where Canseco hit one yesterday. 455 feet.
Harry could talk about baseball all day here. We're going to throw it back to Jack. Yeah, thanks, Harry.
Good to see you, Pat.
Darryl Strawberry is up with a 1-1 count, 2 out, and unfortunately for the National League, nobody on base as they trail 2-0 in the bottom of the 7th. Foul ball puts Strawberry in the hole, 1-2. What a resurgence Darryl has had this season.
In his last 100 at-bats, he's hitting .394 with 13 home runs. He has been the main reason the Mets have surged.
Big Ben has him set up. Got him. 14 National Leaguers in a row have been retired. Now we have played 7 innings. And the American League's on top, 2-0.
The talk with the suppliers in England.
Okay.
CBS Sports coverage of the 61st All-Star Game is sponsored by Today's Chevrolet, who invite you to see why nobody's winning like the heartbeat of America. The companies of the Prudential. Come to the Prudential and build your future on the rock. And by Bud Light. Everything else is just a light.
Hey, this game isn't over. We're going into the 8th inning, and you can never count on a victory here in Wrigley Field until it's nailed down. This is Randy Myers, who is the 8th National League pitcher of the night. The new first baseman is Bobby Bonilla, with Will Clark out of the game at the moment. And there's Bobby. He brought the first baseman's glove. He knew this figured in the plans. The leadoff batter is George Bell. Bell is 0 for 1 with a strikeout in this game. The American League tries to get more. 1-1 the count. On deck, it's Kirby Puckett. We'll have fun watching him. American League sitting pretty at the moment, 2-0, top of the 8th. And we're sitting pretty now, weather-wise. No more rain. Bell hits it high in the air for Strawberry. Ball carrying a little bit differently now. There's 1 out. You know, we're looking at Randy Myers. He used to be with the Mets. John Franco is now with the Mets. Used to be with Cincinnati.
Last year, Randy Myers had a mustache. Now he doesn't, but this year, John Franco has the mustache. So that is nice going, guys. That's great. That is genuinely trading places.
I wonder if those two did that on purpose.
How about that? They were traded for one another, and here they are in the All-Star game together.
Batting is Kirby Puckett. There's a strike from Randy Myers. Myers has 17 saves, and look at those figures. A typical Kirby Puckett year, and for a while he was the highest paid player in baseball, but not long. Pops it up foul, and it comes back and out of play.
Kirby Puckett was the highest paid player in baseball for about 24 hours last winter. As a matter of fact, the highest paid player changed 9 times last year. American League's leading hitter last year, and only the second right-handed hitter since 1970. Second right-handed hitter to lead the American League in hitting.
Myers is throwing 90 miles an hour. He's ahead on the count. Ball 1, 1-2.
Free-swinging Kirby Puckett. Not up there to walk, especially in his hometown.
Gets a base hit. When you can hit, you can hit. Oh, the ball got past Strawberry. And Puckett with 1 out is going to end up at third base, and that's important. Strawberry gets the ball back in. Probably a single and an error. And the fans here get after Strawberry. They don't like any of the Met players, not just Darrell.
Well, they were cheering Darrell in the 6th inning, or in the 7th inning, because he made the throw home. They were booing him yesterday. This ball gets by Strawberry. It hasn't been scored. It is a hit and an error, a single, and an error on Darrell Strawberry.
Puckett's a good mutter. He shoots around to third base with 1 out. The infield has to come in. And here's ball 1 to Cecil Fielder, who is batting for the 2nd time this evening. Flied out to center his first time. So a base hit by Puckett. 2-0. The American League already leading. And the count goes to ball 2. Fielder takes ball 3. It was a single and an error charged to Strawberry, and that was the first error of the evening. And you can bet your bottom dollar that Cecil is going to be swinging on 3-0, and Myers knows that. But he took ball 4. There have been 2, 4, 5. That's the 6th walk given to the American League to go with their 7 hits. And we have a pinch hitter with men at first and third with 1 out. Here's Roger Craig trying to figure out how to stop this American League attack. Alan Trammell is the pinch hitter. It's the first at bat for the Detroit Tigers shortstop. Batting here in the 8th inning.
Mentioned through the 80s, you talk about the gifted shortstops in the American League. Cal Ripken Jr., Robin Yount when he played there for the Brewers, and Alan Trammell. Trammell, the MVP in 1984. Robin Yount, the MVP in 1982, as a shortstop.
National League wants the double play ball. Trammell wants at least the fly ball. There's a strike for Myers.
As a matter of fact, Cal Ripken Jr. sandwiched in between there in 1983. So it was Yount, Ripken, and Trammell. 3 consecutive MVP shortstops in the American League, 82, 3, and 4.
It's been a strong position. First and third, one out. Trammell hits a pop fly for the second baseman, Alomar. 2 out. As Roberto takes it down. Now the National League can keep the deficit to 2 runs. Here's a fellow who played a big part in the run scoring. It was a base hit by Sandy Alomar in the top of the 7th, a pinch hit by this batter, Lance Parrish, and a 2-run single by Franco in the 7th. First and third, 2 out, and a strike.
Parrish has made it clear that he loves the American League. He signed as a free agent with the Philadelphia Phillies, played over there for 2 years, was unsuccessful in the National League, back in the American League, and here another all-star assignment.
Count goes to strike 2 on Parrish. The base hit by Franco that drove in the runs was a double, 2-run double. And he subsequently was thrown out at the plate to end the 7th. Now the American League with a 2-out threat in the 8th. Pop fly foul near the stands and tantalizingly out of reach, only 2 rows back. Bobby Bonilla couldn't get close enough. So Parrish has another chance to add to the 2-0 lead here in the 8th inning.
That foul ball perilously close to the commissioner's seat. If you remember in last year's World Series in Game 4, Will Clark toppling over the railing and into the lap of Commissioner Fay Vincent. The commissioner, yeah, he's going to sign the ball. All right.
The American League has already left 7 and hit into 2 double plays. But they lead 2-0 in the 8th. Parrish gets this ball up in the air. It'll ride out, but the pitch is in the air for ball 1. Over at third base, running the bases, it is Kirby Puckett. And on at first, Cecil Fielder. And Lance Parrish, the batter. 1-2 the count. A late swing and a foul by Parrish, who just stays up there with that foul ball. The American League has out-hit the National League 7-1.
Fastball on the outside corner off the mask of Socia, the glove in the mask.
And another foul. Now the wind has changed, and this is the way the hitters have been hoping it would be blowing all night. It's blowing out toward left and into left center. When we started the game, it was blowing toward the right field foul line. It might have affected the hitting early. But for the most part, it's been an overpowering American League pitching staff. 1-2 to Parrish, and another foul. First and third, 2 out, 2-0. The American League on top. We're in the visitors' half of the 8th inning. Socia's caught the entire game. Throws high and away, 2-2. Myers reaches down to get a little dry sand for his pitching hand. He is the 8th National League pitcher tonight. And ball 3. Now the runner will go from first. That's Fielder. And Bob Bobby Bonilla is now going to drop behind him. And fielder will go with the pitch with 2 out. He walked him and the bases are loaded. First base umpire said he did not swing. So Julio Franco comes up with the bases loaded, 2 out.
Well, the last time Julio was the batter, it was first and third and nobody out. Rob Dibble on the mound in relief of Jeff Brantley, an 0-2 fastball away. And predictably, Franco hits it to right field. Not something you could really call a mistake by Dibble, I don't suppose. A little bit too much of the plate, but you got to give credit to Franco. Good piece of hitting.
Well, he's driven in 2. He'd like to get some more. Bases loaded, 2 out. There have been 7 walks handed out by the National League hurlers. Myers just missed with that one. Third base, it is Puckett. Down at second base, Fielder. And the runner at first is Parrish. And the batter, Julio Franco. Ball 2. Associate of the mound of Myers has walked 2 and given up a base hit to Puckett in this inning. American League hasn't scored here in the 8th, but they have this base-loaded 2-out opportunity.
With Dibble pitching, the outfield was shaded around toward right center, and Len Dykstra, even though a left-hander's out there now, is still around toward right center.
Franco on 2-0. Took a strike, 2-1.
Sometimes the velocity of a pitcher determines how you play the hitter. And because Myers throws so hard, the outfield, a tendency to shift around toward the right part of the outfield.
Franco could blow this game wide open. He flies it into right, and Strawberry has a beat on it. And the inning is over. And now the American League has left 10, but they lead 2-0 in the bottom of the 8th.
Oh, it's so long.
Getting late for the National League as we look down from the Goodyear blimp. National League has only 1 hit, and that was a first-inning single by Will Clark. Goodyear people with a long evening up in the rain clouds. We appreciate the pictures they have sent down to us. We have a new pitcher. It's Chuck Finley. He's the Angels' top winner, and he leads the American League in earned run average, 2.54 and a record of 11-4. Pretty good man to protect the lead, Tim.
His first All-Star appearance, he made last year's team, but he didn't appear.
And here batting for the first time is Bobby Bonilla. Gruber with the play to his left, and he throws him out. You know, that's 15 National League batters in a row who have been retired.
The American League pitching has just dominated tonight. You saw Wallach a while ago get ready to field a ground ball, and now it's Kelly Gruber. The National League really, I mean, this offense hasn't hit a lot of balls hard tonight.
Here is Greg Olson, and Tim McCarver and I agreed before the game that this fellow is probably the most bubbly of all the All-Stars who are here. He is the one most impressed. He's had a tough career again getting to the big leagues. He's a 6-year minor league free agent, and now the Atlanta Braves are reaping the benefits of his production. And he's hit 6 home runs, driven in 25 runs, batting .289, and he's done the job behind the plate for them.
He missed the first 6 days of the season. Ernie Witt, John Russell were the catchers. Russell was released, and then the Braves drafted Phil Lombardi from the Mets.
Strike 2 the count.
Lombardi quit, and they called Greg Olson back up, so they really went through 4 catchers before they got to Olson. Here he is now. He's an all-star. Great story.
And they also had Jody Davis down there with Atlanta at the start of the year. Olson in the hole, however, and he strikes out as Finley turned the ball over. He gets his first strikeout, and that's 16 in a row set down by American League hurlers.
Talking to American League hitters, they say that Chuck Finley has as wicked a split-finger fastball as any pitcher in the American League. And that's what Olson went down on. I mean, that was a hard, vicious. I mean, that was a downer. Finley 6'6", 212.
Only LaRussa can afford to look a bit smug now. 2 out here in the bottom of the 8th inning. American League leading 2-0.
Here's that pitch once again to Greg Olson with a count 1-2. Watch this ball go down. Wow.
Here is Barry Bonds trying to figure out this hurler. 2 balls, no strikes the count with 2 out. A wonderful season for Barry Bonds, and his dad is here, Bobby. And this is the first at bat for Bonds. Or the second at bat. He's 0 for 1. Fly to right his first time, and that's ball 3. There are 2 out. 16 in a row have been set down. Finley pumps a strike in there. This season of his, 11-4, no accident. He was 16-9 last year. He is 6'6", weighs 212. He can bring it. And he throws it low and walks Bonds and opens the door a little bit with 2 out here in the 8th. And guess who's up? One of the Cubbies. There's Tony LaRussa. Not quite so comfortable now as it was a moment ago as Dunston stands in, and the wind is blowing out toward left, and Dunston could tie this. Oh, that'd be wonderful, wouldn't it, to tie it and have some extra innings here tonight?
I don't know if the National League pitching staff would hold out. They only have 2 more pitchers left after Randy Myers.
Runner at first. Bonds a good base stealer. Ball 1. He probably won't be gambling with 2 men out and his club 2 runs behind. He has stolen 24 bases.
Yeah, but no way he runs right here. You got to let him hit.
The initials on the back of the helmet of Sean Dunston are the first initials of his 2 daughters. And I've chatted with Sean about his family, and he is really thrilled with the life that he is leading right now. Runner at first, 2 out. One to the shortstop, Guillen. Force out, and the inning is over, and still the National League has only 1 hit, and they still trail 2-0.
Days of Thunder is a motion picture about a driver, his car, and the will to win. And so is this motion picture, the Chevy Lumina Coupe. On the track and on the street, nobody's winning.
There it is. Reminds himself where he's going to throw the ball. 3-2. Shot at the center fielder, Dykstra, 2 out. So Franco's trying to keep it a 2-run game.
We talked about the Mississippi State connection tonight with Clark and Big Pen. We also talked about the University of Michigan with Larkin and Sabo. Well, John Franco and Viola, Frank Viola, both attending St. John's. Right there, Shea Stadium, Flushing, New York.
And a lot of people from the New York City area, including those 2 you just mentioned, Bobby Bonilla and Sean Dunston. Canseco, he's had a walk. He is 0 for 3. Ball 1 from John Franco.
See, Franco has to keep the ball down to Canseco to be effective, and I think this is a dangerous hitter for Franco right here. Canseco has not looked good tonight.
Foul tip that one into the glove of Olson, 1-1. You know, we might see more of this fall with Canseco at the plate and Franco on the mound. A lot of things have to happen for that to come about. Ball 2. You can see Olson having difficulty catching Franco, and some kids and some older folks waiting for Canseco to loft one out in their area.
I think this is the best chance tonight that they have to get a ball over the fence or into the street. Low ball pitcher, low ball hitter.
And in the dirt, not that low, 3-1. With 2 out in the top of the 9th. We'll see what Franco's approach is on a 3-1 pitch. Nope, that's going to be caught by the left fielder, Barry Bonds. Always catches the ball in that fashion. John Franco has a 1-2-3 inning, bottom of the ninth. 2-0, the American League.
Big hitters. They run their business with a master's touch. And now I can. New MCI Vision. Till now, only the fortunate 500 got the control and flexibility that MCI Vision gives us. Because until now, most long-distance companies thought we were too small. Well, we're not. Ask our accounting department. Why is MCI the only company that sees us as we really are? Maybe they have a little better perspective.
Introducing MCI Vision. Big business long distance for your business.
Want to see this dull, dry hair disappear? Like magic.
Bottom of the ninth is where we are, but where is Pat O'Brien?
All right, Jack, thank you. We are in the catacombs at Wrigley to talk about the lights at Wrigley. You know the story. They didn't have lights here for 74 years. Last 2 seasons they've had lights. Kind of controversial. We're cleared to go in here. You've seen the lights, I know, but I want to show you something I bet you haven't seen. These, my friends, are the switches that turn on the lights that ended exclusive daytime baseball at Wrigley. And all the traditionalists, I bet, would love to come and turn these off. You know, I lived in Chicago for several years, and I have a lot of friends here who would love to have me switch one of these off. I'll think about it.
You wouldn't.
That's a switch.
Yeah, that's a switch. That's a loose cannon, Pat O'Brien. He's a grenade with a pin bolt, and he's found a light switch. Let's hope. Here he strains himself. The new pitcher is Dennis Eckersley. What better man for LaRussa to run out there with that 2-1 record, 25 saves, and Dykstra leading it off in the bottom of the ninth. That's ball one. Dykstra can work you for a walk, but Eckersley doesn't do that very often.
2 walks in 36 1/3 innings this year. 2.
Lenny Dykstra leading it off here in the bottom of the ninth. And there's a strike. It's 1-1. Roberto Alomar will follow. So the National League has to get a runner on base to have a chance. 1-1, ball 2. Lenny Dykstra leading the National League and the Major Leagues in hitting with a 360 mark. He was over 400 for a long time in the early part of the season.
462 on base percentage, too.
There's a strike from Eckersley. 2-2. Now he'll have to start swinging. Two to Lenny Dykstra. 3 times he has flied out. And a foul ball keeps Dykstra up there. All-Star game history, we've had some low-hit games, but here the National League has had only 1 hit. And there's a hit. But Dykstra adds some excitement to the game with a leadoff single here in the 9th inning. He is on base for the first time. Leave it to him. He does what he has to do.
Ball down and in, and Dykstra rifles it back up the middle. Only the 2nd hit for the National League, and by far the hardest hit ball. Remember, once again, the National League has 1 pitcher left, and he's warming in the bullpen now, and that's Neil Heaton.
Dykstra runs the bases, but they're going to play behind him down there. They don't expect him to run, but he is a daring sort. His fielder plays behind him. Roberto Alomar, he's a switch hitter, and there's strike 1. Neil Heaton warming up. He of the Pirates enjoying a banner season. And a fly ball into center field, and Puckett's on the move, and that's the first out of the 9th inning. Alomar made a good bid for a base hit, but Puckett grabbed it. And here comes a home run threat. Matt Williams is going to be the batter, and Parrish goes out to talk with his pitcher, and the shortstop comes in. They want to make certain of their approach.
How about this for a setting? What a fine young third baseman Matt Williams is. We've talked about it before. Babe Ruth with the first all-star home run in Comiskey Park, and Matt Williams not only has 17 home runs, but does a remarkable impersonation of Babe Ruth. Remarkable.
He'll be pumping. The wind might help him. We're in the bottom of the 9th. Tying run at the plate. 2-0, the American League on top. The American League would like the double play to end this game. Eckersley, and now they're holding against Dykstra. And ball 1 to Williams. They like to get him on him breaking stuff. He's a dead fastball hitter. 17 home runs, 69 runs batted in, leading the National League in runs batted in. Chopper foul. The coordinating producer of Major League Baseball on CBS is Rick LaCivita. And this evening's telecast directed by Joe Assetti. Pre-game show produced by Ed Gorin. The senior producer of CBS Sports is David Winter. The executive producer of CBS Sports is Ted Shaker. 1-1 to Matt Williams of the Giants. A little bit low, and that's ball 2-1 from Eckersley. Williams was in the home run hitting contest yesterday. Eckersley used to pitch for the Cubs, so he's familiar with this Wrigley Field setting. 2-0, the Americans on top. 1 on, 1 out. 2-2 now.
He had his pitch right here, that unusual style. A lot of hitters trigger their swing. Matt Williams triggers his whole body. It's that little rock. Hits off his backside. He just came up empty with that one.
2-2, and foul ball keeps him up there. Matt Williams with one swing could tie this affair.
Similar career in the first 2 years, as you see Doug Jones from Cleveland, Randy Johnson, the left-hander from Seattle. Matt Williams, a similar career. Mike Schmidt.
Tag on the inside corner. That's the second out of the inning.
I tell you, I'm surprised Eckersley came right back in there, but look where Lance Parrish, the catcher, is. Inside corner, and that's where they get him. Usually in a home run situation, you've got a power hitter up there. If you're going to make a mistake, you make it away. But Eckersley, bold and brash here at Wrigley. Threw the fastball in the inside corner.
Last hope, Tim Wallach. Strike 1 from Dennis Eckersley. Wallach is 0 for 1. It's not beyond him to tie this game. Dykstra at first, 2 out, and that's strike 2 in the American League within 1 strike of a 2-0 shutout. Wallach has a great batting mark career-wise against Eckersley. 12 out of 34 with a home run. And a foul ball, and Parrish is back at the screen, but nothing doing. That's how close this game came to ending right there. 0-2. You're in a bad spot when Eckersley backs you up 0-2. Eckersley is only the 6th pitcher for the American League and Tony LaRussa. Wallach with an 0-2 count, 2 out, bottom of the 9th. Runner at first, Dykstra, 2-0 American League. And a high pop fly stays in play for Fielder. And that's the way this one ends.